You're listening to Linked AM. Tell your story on Linked Live and get noticed. You're listening to Carl Wolfenden on the Business Class Show and is not always affiliated with the guests and the topics discussed. Any financial statements are the opinions of the individual, and you should seek professional advice before making any decisions. Upgrade your listening to Business Class, the show that puts you in the big leather comfy seats. So sit back and enjoy our take on the trending business issues of the week.
Howdy, folks. Here he is, the Texas Brit, the guy with the stiff upper lip, filling his 10-gallon hat and his cowboy boots, Carl Wolfenden.
Good morning, and welcome to Linked AM. And it's another wonderful. We're heading into the second quarter of this wonderful year. As we've said, 2021 is our restart. I'm calling it our restart. We have at the end of the year, we say it's race to the start line, which is really getting all your ducks in a row for getting ready for that new year. Because, of course, we're business class news, so we're trying to talk about how you're going to increase revenue, how you're going to actually engage with all those objectives. So we're coming into the second quarter, and it's going so quickly. But I'm excited about what we're about to talk about. You may have seen the post I put out on our LinkedIn and Facebook and everywhere. I mean, my team was like saying, you got to see this, because I had an interview with Michael Gorton a few days ago. And, he's been a regular sort of contributor over the past couple of years. And we've talked about this project, Back to Space. And, I've got involved in this fantastic vision and mission that they're on with this venue, this world-class venue that they're building. And we showed that. Well, Michael showed it on the screen, and it was amazing. And so I thought, you know what? The person I really want to talk to next is Danielle Rusa, and she is, of course, the vision and the passion behind this. And I've got her in the studio today. Danielle, how are you?
Hi, that's, the vision and the passion makes me feel like I need to chug my coffee, but here I am in full excitement. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'll have a cup of coffee. Cheers to you there. We'll have a cup of coffee.
Cheers.
No, but the conversation that really got it caught fire on LinkedIn when my team posted it, because it was like something that was very passionate to my own heart, and I said that in the post. There's two things. I love the fact that your mission is to go out and sort of embrace and sort of interact with students that want to learn more about science, technology, engineering, and math. So it's STEM, okay? But then my other passion is, because I used to run travel shows from around the world. I used to do live shows from around the world. It was destinations. And this is going to be a destination. The Lunar Landscape Experience that Michael showcased is going to be a destination for sure. So we talked about that on the last segment with Michael, but let's backtrack a little bit. So you're the granddaughter of Stuart Rusa, who was actually on Apollo 14. What was it like to be the granddaughter of somebody that went into space?
It's interesting because he actually passed away when I was 2, but he told a lot of stories, and those stories were passed down. So it's a very interesting feeling, especially going back to NASA. It felt like I've talked to him, because I feel like I know the guy very, very well because of all the stories. My dad's always talking about him. My uncles are always, passing down stories. And it was a really eerie feeling when I did work at NASA and I was walking through the halls and I was like, oh my God, you were here too.
Yeah.
So it's a very unique experience in the sense of I grew up around space my whole life. And I think that there was really an awakening when I was working at NASA on the Mars Curiosity rover, as any college intern does. They're like, oh my God, I'm interning here. Look at cool. This is so exciting. And then a lot of people are like, well, I didn't even know NASA was still doing stuff. And I was like, what?
Right.
And so that's when I kind of was able to figure out a way to kind of pass the torch of what my grandfather did to what I'm doing now. And so to go back to your question, it's been a really, this whole back to space effort has been a way to kind of have that talking to my grandfather, even though he's not here, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I think, when, things that I used to hear, okay, from my dad about my granddad, because some of the stories I didn't hear because, he didn't tell me about them, etc. But my dad told me about them. But it influenced me. And I think this whole mission and vision of back to space is to do that, is to put somebody into the experience of, I want to learn more. I want to actually, go and do something that I wasn't even thinking I was going to do. So there's usually a path, isn't it? There's a fork in the road. You either go one way or the other. And if a piece of sort of an experience happens, then you go, oh, I'm going to go this way. And that's what I think back to space is about, isn't it? Because sometimes STEM has a feel to kids. I mean, hey, my kids, they say, oh, I don't like math, I don't like science. But when they do something, their hands on it, they go, oh, I really love that. Well, actually, did you know that was science and math you just did? No, it wasn't.
Exactly. And it's interesting because I feel like the way that we're teaching these subjects is so boring. You're like looking at a textbook and you're like, I don't know why I need to do this math equation.
Yep.
But I think what Back to Space's main mission is to inspire. So I think for me personally, anytime you can activate all of your senses and really are invested and completely surrounded by an experience, it lasts way longer than a paragraph that you're going to read in a textbook. And I think I think something that I wish that going back, I think for me, I really liked history, right? Because those were like real people doing real things. And I think that the way that it was taught was very engaging, at least at my school. So I think that if we kind of, take this experience and have people understand that all of these equations, all of these paragraphs in textbooks are actually applicable, and look how cool science and technology, engineering and math, like look at all of the practicality of what you're learning. And to be honest, the people that are going to attend the Lunar Landscape Experience are going to be the generation to walk on Mars. So what I hope is that someone who's not surrounded by people who are constantly pushing them to go into STEM, so when they go to the Lunar Landscape Experience, something is activated inside of them where they say, you know what, this is awesome. I want to do this for the rest of my life. How do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, the big word that we're hearing out there is innovation. Okay. And innovation can mean a bunch of things, can't it? And so we're talking to corporations that say, oh, we're innovative. And the thing is that what we're going to be able to show at the Lunar Landscape Experience is those innovations and how they're going to be actually, what the outcome is. There's companies out there today that are saying, I want to create a zero carbon output by 2050. It's part of the Paris Treaty, And so how do you do that? And they're actually creating these companies that are actually focused on doing that. Well, they need a workforce that is going to help actually, make that a reality. And that workforce, we've just created a special feature on Business Class News called The Future of America's Workforce, which is the students. And of course, that's tied into your program. Because if we don't teach them and they embrace this and say, I want to become a scientist, I want to become an engineer, etc. Well, if they see it in action, then it's a game changer.
I mean, I think Sally Ride said it best, where if you can see one, you can be one.
Yes.
Where, that's talking about, people or women, minorities, anybody who is not, the cookie cutter version of a astronaut, right? And Sally Ride was like, hey, listen, what we're doing our part. If you can see me, you can do it. So I think that that kind of translates into the Lunar Landscape Experience, where if you can be on the moon, you can also go to the moon, you know? I mean, and that's the great thing. When we started this company, space was not in the news every day. Space was not. People were not as engaged as they are now. So it's been a very awesome experience watching, going to Target and seeing the NASA shirts and this, I'm like, okay, cool. So it's inside of fashion now. And, Elon is doing great things and a lot of people are just really engaged. So I think we have an opportunity here, a very unique opportunity to really push people forward to go into STEM, because people are, I mean, they're having launches every week. So it's a very exciting time. And I think now is the perfect time to really push that inspiration.
I think it's a fantastic mission. I mean, as everybody knows that's watching this and listening to this, I am actually involved with the project and helping with the project. And so I'm excited because, I mean, as I told Michael, my first show and tell was when I actually got I built a model spaceship, one of these plastic ones, and then I did a show and tell. And that was, that was my start of thinking I want to get involved in all of this, and I'm following all this with Perseverance, etc. That's gone up to Mars, and the pictures that are coming back. So, and I think you're right. The media now and it's become more in vogue. It's more fashionable, but corporations are embracing the fact that they have to help the students and they have to sort of get engaged. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking to these corporations about, is saying, look, we can get this future workforce for you in front of your brand. And that, anyway, that's another story. But so what is the next step of Back to Space? I mean, you've got the Lunar Landscape Experience, which is really your main focus as such, but you've got all your ambassadors out there, haven't you, as well, that are telling these stories?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, going into exactly what you're talking about, and students and the student ambassadors, what they do is they go out and you can hand students a textbook and say, hey, read this in quizzes on Friday, learn it. Or you can be at a lunch table and have a conversation with your friend about how cool it is when you re-enter from space, the heat shield that pops up. Like, that's engaging. That's super exciting. So what we've done is we've given these Back to Space ambassadors an opportunity to have hands-on experience. They've met the Apollo astronauts. They've been to these events, and what they're tasked to do is go out and talk about it with their friends and really ignite a passion for space exploration with their friends. So because I mean, it's kind of like a grassroots organization, right? Like I can't. I mean, at my age, I can't be like, hey kids, read a book. They're going to be like, who are you and why are you yelling at me? But these student ambassadors can do a great job of that. And kids are pretty active on social media, and so they post videos, images. They do interviews with space companies, so that they're really doing their part in really spreading the word of space and getting their friends involved.
Well, I mean, I used to be involved in a lot of street teams, for festivals and get it for bands, etc. And that's exactly what we used to do. We used to get our fans, and we used to say, "You go and do this, and we'll get you backstage passes or whatever to if you and you incentivize them, you make it relevant for your audience to go out and do things." So I think this is an amazing organization. I'm so pleased that I'm part of this mission and vision of yours, and we're going to be sharing lots and lots of stories with your colleagues. I think we've got Eric coming on the show in a couple of days' time. And I think Mark as well. He's coming on, who's the architect of the Lunar Landscape Experience. So
he's so great. Like, we gave him an idea and an image, and he was like, "Got it," and he created this amazing facility blueprint. So I'm very.
Well, yeah, I mean, Michael was so excited to share it on the show last week, where he shared his screen and showed these fantastic images, because it's not just the lunar landscape. You've got the stage there. you got the restaurants, etc. So that's why I was saying before, it's a destination. It's not just a learning center, which it is, but where you can come and experience and learn, but it's a destination for the parents and everybody to embrace it. So Danielle, thank you for joining me this morning to share this story of yours. I really, really appreciate you coming on because, as I say, it's going to be an amazing destination, as we've just said, and a place that's going to be showcased around the world.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I think everyone we talk to about the Lunar Landscape Experience, their eyes light up and they're like, oh my God, when is it opening? And I'm just really excited that I got an opportunity to talk with you and to share it. And I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Oh, it will. It'll be bright. It'll be bright. And it'll, excuse the pun, it'll take off really, really well. Oh, is that right?
It will be out of this world.
It'll be a liftoff.
Oh. And once you go, it will be a blast.
On that note, I love it. I love it. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Again, all the details are going to be on the website and in the feature, etc. This will be, of course, on YouTube and all our podcast distributions. So, Danielle, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Of course, that was Danielle Russa, and she is, of course, the passion and the vision behind this wonderful organization. I've already sort of told you that I'm going to be showing all of the information, all the images of this wonderful venue on the website. So click on the link below this video and you'll be able to see and read more about it. So as we always say on Linked AM, go out there, have some fun, make some money because, hey, it's business class news and we're all in business together. We've got to make some money and be safe out there. So till the next time, goodbye.